Deep in the forests of Cambodia's Siem Reap province, an ancient stone city soars skyward. This is the sprawling complex of Angkor Archaeological Park.
All right, the clock is ticking to see one of the archaeological wonders of the world right in our own backyard.
KTLA 5's Gail Anderson takes us to Angkor, the lost empire of Cambodia.
For years, Angkor Wat stood as a silent wonder. But when scientists dug beneath its stones, they found something that rewrites everything we know about history. The discovery is breathtaking, mysterious, and shocking.
Angkor Wat was an engineering masterpiece. Everything the Khmer had learned over hundreds of years of temple building and engineering great water projects came together in the construction of the jewel of their civilization.
What lies beneath this temple will make you stunned. The stone map of heaven. Around 900 years ago in the Cambodian jungle, a king named Surya Varman II had a dream of creating something lasting. He was the ruler of the Khmer Empire and wanted to build a masterpiece to honor the gods and showcase his kingdom's greatness. He envisioned a grand place that would be unmatched by any enemy and could withstand the test of time. This dream led to the creation of Angkor Wat, one of the world's most incredible wonders. What emerged from the dense, lush jungle was more than just a temple. It was a heavenly structure crafted from stone. Angkor Wat was not just a representation of religious belief, it was a physical depiction of the cosmos. From a distance, its spires resembled blooming lotus flowers reaching towards the heavens. Upon closer inspection, every detail showcased a remarkable level of craftsmanship that continues to astonish people today. Each intricate carving, every stone block, and every curve adhered to a flawless design that perplexes modern engineers who struggle to comprehend how it was achieved without the use of machines, cranes, or computers. The temple was not constructed for everyday prayers. It was created to resemble Mount Meru, which is a holy mountain thought to be the center of the world and where the gods reside. The 5 main towers of the temple were meant to symbolize the 5 peaks of Mount Meru, and the way the temple grounds were arranged reflected the structure of the universe. The gardens around the temple represented the different layers of life: the sky above, the human world, the realm of spirits, and the divine world. Each level of the temple was intended to bring visitors closer to a heavenly experience. A vast moat surrounded the magnificent stone world, not filled by natural water but carefully dug by humans. This moat acted like a mirror, reflecting the temple and the sky above. People saw it as more than just decoration. It symbolized the cosmic ocean separating humans from gods. Despite its beauty, the moat also served practical purposes, such as cooling the structure and protecting it from floods and storms. It combined art, religion, and engineering, showing how the Khmer builders incorporated technology into beauty. Inside Angkor Wat, the walls are adorned with intricate carvings depicting various stories.
Angkor Wat's walls are covered with 12,900 square feet of bas-relief carvings. Executed with great skill and artistic sophistication, the reliefs are considered a masterpiece in their own right.
These carvings, made of sandstone, showcase gods, battles, dancers, and celestial beings. The images also portray the king surrounded by divine figures, illustrating his close connection to the gods. The carvings served as a means of spiritual worship and a way to promote the king's power. The Khmer people believed their king was a link between heaven and earth, and to doubt his authority would be to challenge the natural order of things. The building of Angkor Wat is considered one of the most impressive accomplishments in human history. The sandstone for the construction was brought from quarries located over 50 kilometers away. Each block, weighing as much as a car, was meticulously carved and placed without the use of cement or glue. The stones were fitted together so precisely that not even a thin piece of paper could fit between them. This was achieved through accurate measurements and careful balancing, all done by hand. The temple has remained standing for almost 900 years, withstanding rain, heat, and the passage of time, still sturdy and stunning in its beauty. Every stone, wall, and step at Angkor Wat held significance. The whole temple was a message etched in stone, a prayer that would endure. It conveyed beliefs in human faith, connection to the divine, and the idea that achieving perfection could bring one closer to the gods. The builders saw creating something so perfect as a form of devotion, a means of reaching eternity through their craftsmanship and beliefs. For centuries, Angkor Wat remained undisturbed, nestled in the midst of tranquil nature. The towers of the temple shimmered on the calm water, and its intricate carvings glistened in the sunlight. However, perfection can sometimes conceal mysteries. Even amidst its peaceful beauty, peculiar details started to catch the eye. Certain spots on the ground produced hollow sounds when walked on, hinting at an emptiness below. Lamps flickered without a breeze, and rumors circulated that sections of the temple were capable of observing. The locals started to speculate that underneath this idyllic structure, something sinister might be hidden. They talked about secret rooms and blocked pathways located far beneath the center of the temple. Some believed the ground was cursed, while others thought that the gods had concealed something too strong for people to discover. For many years, nobody was brave enough to excavate or disrupt the Holy Land. The temple, representing heaven, was also thought to protect a hidden secret from the underworld. However, over time, people became curious about what may be hidden under the stones of Angkor Wat. Explorers, historians, and treasure hunters began to investigate the ancient whispers surrounding the structure, hoping to uncover the secrets hidden within. Secrets beneath Angkor Wat. They mentioned that the ground beneath the rice fields sometimes made a hollow sound, and when it did, no one dared to investigate further. They simply walked away, pretending they hadn't heard it. The older people frequently talked about unusual areas of land where not even birds would stop. Monks advised the residents not to go near specific walls at night. They claimed that the air in those places became dense and oppressive, as if something hidden lurked below. These were more than just scary stories told for fun. They were teachings handed down over time. The message was consistent. Do not awaken whatever lies beneath the rocks. For hundreds of years, there was a tense quiet until a stranger came along and disrupted it. Henri Mouhot, a French naturalist, traveled to the dense Cambodian jungle in 1860. He wasn't in search of riches or fame, but instead wanted to gather unique plants, insects, and artifacts for museums in Europe. However, the land had different intentions for him. He was pushed to his limits during the journey. The sticky air stuck to his skin like steam. Leeches climbed on his legs, and the ground was so wet that it seemed to consume his boots entirely. Each step he took sank into the mud. As he ventured further into the dense foliage, the trees became denser, and the forest seemed to stretch on forever. It was as if the world was against him passing through. As he pushed his way through the thick vines and tall branches, he spotted something that didn't seem natural. He saw shapes that didn't look like they were created by nature, such as straight lines, sharp corners, and tall spires cutting through the green trees. When he finally broke free from the vines, it was like a curtain had been lifted. In front of him was a city built from stone. Huge walls with the faces of gods carved into them loomed over him, weathered and silent. Stone serpents, like snakes, were carved into the stairs as if they were guarding the shadows below.
Even the detailed lintels at the top of the walls are carved from the same stone blocks. Each artist would cut away layers of the wall and then carve the reliefs directly into the stone.
Mouhot was frozen in place, unable to even take a step. The scene in front of him was unlike anything he had seen in Europe before. He later said it was more grand than any cathedral he had visited. However, his awe quickly turned to unease. While he examined the remains, he started to see things that seemed odd. Certain tunnels stopped suddenly with sealed walls, as if they had been intentionally blocked off. Other areas were filled with solid mortar, as if someone had tried to hide something away. He talked about rooms that were so quiet it seemed like sound couldn't even travel through them. His sketches showed both confusion and amazement, showcasing the immense size of a city that was incredibly large but mysteriously forgotten for hundreds of years. How could something so huge stay hidden in the jungle, unknown to the world for such a long time? When his drawings and notes arrived in Paris, they created a lot of excitement. Experts and adventurers were amazed. The concept of a huge ancient civilization in Asia fascinated people in Europe. The media started referring to it as the Lost Cathedral of the East. Before long, trips were being organized, maps were being made, and Angkor became the main focus of interest. However, not everything that Muhat wrote down was included in the final published work. Some of his first notes went missing. Illustrations portraying strange indentations near the western entrance were discreetly left out. Authorities stated that these materials were lost, but some suspected a different motive at hand, a deliberate attempt to manipulate the information available to the public. It is possible that the absent drawings were not oversights, but rather subtle signals disregarded by individuals too keen on uncovering history. European explorers were excited about their discovery, but the people of Cambodia were cautious. They believed that workers who touched certain walls became mysteriously sick. They also talked about lanterns going out for no apparent reason. One worker said his chisel wouldn't cut through the stone, as if the temple was fighting back. Carvings of serpent guardians called Naga were found near sealed areas. The Naga's eyes were focused on the ground, indicating these were barriers meant to be kept closed, not doors meant to be opened. Foreign archaeologists continued their work despite this, mapping the walls, removing the vines, and restoring visible structures. However, they were unaware of the secrets lying beneath their feet, protected for centuries by ancient rulers and clergy who had disappeared. The world appreciated the carvings, towers, and detailed bas-reliefs depicting myths and conflicts. Nonetheless, the most significant findings were concealed underground, in rooms and chambers that no one had the courage to explore or comprehend. Generations of locals have told stories about a mysterious underground world beneath Angkor. According to them, the air there is thick and still, filled with a strange power. They believed that ancient gods still resided there, only in a dormant state. Outsiders may have dismissed these tales as superstition. But with time, legends can sometimes prove to be based on reality. When modern technology arrived in Angkor, scientific knowledge started to replace traditional beliefs. High-tech lasers were used to survey the dense jungle, slicing through roots, soil, and layers of decay. The findings were surprising as they uncovered hidden chambers, buried structures, and remnants of an ancient city beneath the visible temple complex. The results proved what the villagers had always suspected. The ground under Angkor wasn't solid. It was empty. There were layers of ancient history, rooms sealed so tightly that no one had entered them for almost 1,000 years. The thick air, the echoing sounds, the off-limits areas, all the things that were thought to be just stories had now been backed up by proof. The stunning Angkor Wat has amazed people worldwide for many years. The towers are seen in the surrounding moats. The carvings shine in gold during sunrise. And its grandeur is incomparable. The hidden city beneath. To the naked eye, Angkor Wat looked like a lone, impressive structure in a green landscape. However, this was an illusion. The real secrets of the temple lie hidden just beneath the surface, waiting to be revealed by modern technology. The big change started when scientists switched from typical digging tools to lasers. In the early 2010s, researchers began using LiDAR technology, which stands for light detection and ranging, to study the area around Angkor Wat. LiDAR works by sending millions of laser pulses from planes down to the ground. These pulses bounce off of objects like leaves, branches, and soil before returning to sensors that track their path. Using advanced computers, researchers were able to virtually remove the layers of forest, uncovering what was hidden beneath. It was like seeing through the jungle. Researchers were shocked when they saw the first LiDAR images on their screens. What seemed like random forest areas revealed intricate roadways and patterns. Below the thick trees, there was evidence of deliberate planning and organization. The disorganized forest floor was a carefully designed landscape. This finding changed the previous understanding of Angkor Wat completely. Instead of being a solitary temple, it was uncovered as part of a large, ancient city. LiDAR technology revealed detailed digital maps showcasing a vast urban area with roads, canals, ponds, and neighborhoods spreading across hundreds of square kilometers. This was impossible for explorers to see on foot. Angkor Wat was found to be part of a massive and advanced ancient city, rivaling capitals of old civilizations. The temple is not just the largest religious monument in the world, but also the focal point of a vast city. Every piece of laser information depicted the past in a new way. The Khmer builders didn't just build a temple. They created a complex water system. They used canals and reservoirs, called barrays, to bring rainwater for irrigation and to prevent flooding. The reservoirs also stored water for times of drought. These waterways also functioned as a cooling system for the city during hot weather. Even without modern tools, the people of Angkor were able to manage their surroundings with great accuracy. This is why historians started referring to it as the hydraulic city. Despite the amazing discoveries that were made, there was something more unexpected waiting to be uncovered. As researchers used lasers to examine the main temple of Angkor Wat, they discovered mysterious shapes hidden beneath the surface, especially in the central sanctuary. The findings showed precise lines, square shapes, and geometric patterns that were not part of the natural surroundings. These formations were not accidental, but seemed to have been intentionally created for a specific purpose. Initially, scientists believed that these shapes could be foundation deposits. In the ancient Khmer culture, builders would sometimes dig small ceremonial holes under new buildings for spiritual blessings. These shapes were too big and precise to be regular foundation deposits. They reached deep under the temple, right below its most sacred room. Their symmetry was so perfect that they couldn't be natural formations. The finding caused a quick discussion among experts. People in the science field had differing opinions. Some researchers advised being careful, stating that although the information was interesting, it was not completely proven that there were hidden structures. They felt that additional studies and confirmation were necessary before coming to a conclusion. On the other hand, some argued that the proof was too remarkable to dismiss. They saw the patterns as a clear indication that something important was hidden under Angkor Wat. The concept that these geometric gaps could occur naturally seemed unlikely. Experts were divided on the validity of the images circulating, with some suggesting the LiDAR results could be distorted due to technical issues or misinterpretation of the data. The pictures appeared too intentional and precise to be random. However, if they were authentic, they could prove the long-standing rumor of hidden chambers or passages beneath Angkor Wat in Cambodian history. This new possibility brought up additional inquiries about what the Khmer architects were aiming to achieve. Is it possible that they were constructed not just above the ground, but also below it? The balanced design of Angkor Wat has traditionally been seen as a symbol of Mount Meru, believed to be the residence of Hindu gods. The towers of the temple pointed upwards towards the heavens, symbolizing spiritual growth. However, what if the architects also designed a hidden world below, representing the unknown or the everlasting? The LiDAR results indicated that this theory could be correct. When looking down on the temple, it appeared to reach toward the heavens of Vishnu. However, beneath the surface, the laser scans uncovered something purposefully sealed off. It could be more than just the physical structure, but a symbolic representation of faith. While the tall towers paid tribute to the gods, the concealed areas below suggested something mysterious, something the architects wished to safeguard. Scientists delved deeper into the data and came to realize the meticulous planning behind Angkor Wat. Every aspect, including its alignment with celestial bodies and the design of its water systems, was deliberate.
The solid stone ruins of Angkor sit atop a huge reservoir of underground water. For centuries, this water has kept the sandy soil firm and the monument steady.
The recently uncovered patterns added another dimension to its intricacy. Whether it be secret chambers, ceremonial spaces, or symbolic structures, they demonstrated that the builders of Angkor Wat had exceptional expertise and a deep understanding of the connection between the heavens and the earth. The hidden depths of Angkor. By 2020, they were eager to explore the hidden secrets that no one had ever seen before, lying beneath the ancient stones. An international group of experts in archaeology, engineering, and digital imaging technology came together at the location with high-tech tools. They used radar and sensors to dig up hidden information beneath the old base. Their primary goal was to explore the Western Causeway, a major path leading to the temple and the central sanctuary, the main part of Angkor Wat believed to be for the gods. The task started with the steady noise of machines. The radar signals traveled through the ground, resembling gentle heartbeats, returning data in forms of color and sound. It was the first time in many years that the silence beneath the temple was turning into valuable information. Every scan contributed more details to the electronic map, showing the extensive history of the temple below the surface. Originally, everything seemed normal. The findings indicated sturdy bases, dense sand, and the usual designs of old buildings, all indications of expert workmanship from long ago. However, the data started to change. The radar picked up an unexpected discovery beneath the holy places. Rather than solid rock, there were extended hollow spaces running horizontally under the primary buildings. The empty spaces found underground were strange, but what shocked the team was the materials used to line them. The stones inside were much thicker and sturdier than those in the visible temple above. It seemed like the best craftsmanship was kept hidden instead of being shown. The accuracy of the underground design was amazing and didn't make sense. Why would builders spend so much time and energy on something that would not be seen? What was the reason for having these reinforced rooms? As more information was gathered, it became increasingly puzzling. A few specialists thought these structures could be tombs or chambers used for rituals that were sealed off. Others thought they might be parts of an older temple buried to help the newer one. However, the designs did not correspond with any familiar Khmer architectural style. Instead, the sensors showed a system of interconnected passages spreading out like veins, all leading to the central tower. The situation became unexpected when a section of the bridge collapsed while the radar scans were being conducted near the Western Causeway. Luckily, no one got hurt, but it startled the team. The incident led to equipment malfunctions, with some sensors disconnecting and others experiencing short circuits. It almost seemed like the Earth was pushing back against the team. After a few hours of working on it, the scanning device regained power. Once the screen came back on, a faint yet clear image popped up. The image depicted a carving design below the surface, resembling coiled naga serpents encircling human figures. This finding shocked everyone. The local workers identified the image right away. It was thought that these carvings served as ancient warnings. Similar serpent designs were also found on sealed doors in the temple, supposedly safeguarding against disturbing what should be left undisturbed. Some workers stopped working when they saw the markings, because they believed tampering with them would bring bad luck. The foreign researchers felt uneasy but were pushed to keep going. Journalists were also present, and the sponsors of the project wanted results. The group felt they had no choice but to move forward. The researchers increased the area they were scanning, sending radar signals further into the ground. Gradually, the information they gathered started to show a more defined image. What appeared on the display was a clear pathway that went straight down from the center platform.
The temples at Angkor Wat in Cambodia make up the largest Hindu temple complex in the world. Visitor numbers have exploded in recent years.
The shape of the pathway looked deliberate and smooth, indicating it was not a natural feature like a crack or fault line. It was clear that this pathway had been intentionally created, not something natural. The team felt enthusiastic as they started digging in the morning where the radar indicated the entrance. The digging process was tiring and slow due to the dense roots and layers of rubble. The unearthed path was narrow, winding, and obstructed in various places, resembling a tangled cluster of veins. After patiently removing layers of soil, the workers uncovered a small stone opening that led into darkness. A cold gust of air came out of the opening, giving the workers a chill. The surrounding jungle became quiet, as if it was listening. The ancient temple finally seemed to relax after being silent for nearly 9 centuries. The team was standing in front of a recently uncovered entrance, realizing that they were viewing something that had not been touched since the temple was first built. It was apparent that whatever was beneath the entrance had been sealed off for a specific purpose. It was now evident that the builders of Angkor Wat had concealed a complete structure under their sacred monument, which was constructed with more precision and durability than the temple itself. The finding brought up many questions. The open areas, the dense stone walls, and the downward tunnel all suggested a deeper meaning, one that had never been talked about in any records or stories. The destruction of the bridge, the unusual carvings, and the equipment malfunctions heightened concerns, turning the endeavor into more than just a research expedition. When the team was about to enter the passage, everyone realized that this excavation was different. The sealed chamber underneath. When the final stone was removed, there was a loud hiss that sounded like a warning from something very old. The noise traveled through the tunnel, sounding low and eerie. Next came a strong, wet, metallic, and unpleasant odor. It quickly spread throughout the air, sticking to everything it came in contact with. The team turned on their lights, and bright beams pierced through the thick, dusty air that seemed to be moving. Each speck of dust floated around as if it was alive, disturbed after being still for centuries. The walls were blackened with soot and looked damaged. The floor echoed with every step, and the air felt hard to breathe. Subsequent reports from the group described the intense heat, which was almost unbearable. The silence inside was not calm. It felt oppressive and eerie, almost like a heavy burden on the chest. It seemed as though the building itself was alive and observing. As the lights moved along the stone walls, shapes started becoming visible. The carvings depicted detailed and sharp images of Naga, the serpent deities from ancient times. The snakes were shown coiled around human figures, biting into their arms and throats. In the past, these carvings were meant to symbolize protection, safeguarding sacred water and blessings. However, now they conveyed a different message. They depicted suffering, mortality, and retribution. This no longer held a sacred meaning, but served as a cautionary tale for those who ventured inside. At the end of the chamber was a huge stone door with no hinges or handles, only thick mortar sealing it shut, and strange symbols carved into it. The symbols looked old, but their message was clear. The team spent hours chiseling and drilling to open the door. Each hit sounded like thunder in the small room. Finally, the slab broke with a loud crack. For the first time in hundreds of years, light illuminated what was hidden. When the light spread through the darkness, everyone stopped in their tracks. The scene in front of them left them breathless. The floor was covered with bones, hundreds of them, arranged in circular patterns around a stone altar. The skulls were placed in rings, with ribs stacked underneath. Copper wire had been used to bind the wrists, and several skeletons had broken necks and spines. These were not ceremonial burials. They were displays of death, planned and savage. It was not a quiet place like a grave, but rather a place with a history of violent deaths. The bones in each layer gave evidence of many sacrifices. The room seemed to echo with the sounds of their suffering. On the stone table, there were small metal pots neatly arranged, covered in blackened and sticky substances. The pots contained a dark residue. Analysis in the lab later revealed that the dried remains had traces of blood. This blood was not only from animals, but also had proteins from both animals and humans. Faded inscriptions in Sanskrit and Khmer were carved into the stone near the altar.
Many words in the Sanskrit language hold within their sound the ability for us to connect with the essence of that which they are describing.
When translated, a frightening message was unveiled. The blood below sustains the gods. If this chamber is broken, their hunger will return. These words clarified the situation. This place was not constructed to celebrate life, but rather to contain something horrifying. The room became quiet when the researchers realized the truth. Some of them started crying, unable to look away from the disturbing scene. Others were in disbelief and decided to leave. Instead of finding something new, they found the tragic remains of many souls buried under a sacred site. What they discovered completely altered the perception of Angkor Wat. The temple, once revered as a representation of paradise on earth, concealed a much darker secret underneath its stunning facade. Buried within its majestic towers and gleaming stones were countless graves integrated into its structure. It was not just a remarkable architectural achievement, it was a solemn memorial constructed upon suffering, serving as a cautionary tale of the consequences of unabated devotion turning into obsession. The team made detailed notes of all the carvings, bones, strange seal and warning written on the walls. Even wearing masks, the air was harsh on their throats. The sounds they heard seemed to go on forever, and the longer they explored, the more they felt the heaviness of centuries bearing down on them. The quietness felt eerie once more, spreading through the tunnels as if murmuring old prayers that were left unfinished. The findings in the sealed room were explored later, but most team members didn't want to talk about it again. The experience was too overwhelming for them. They had come across something from ancient times, something that was supposed to remain a secret. Every sight, scent, and sound from that moment became a memory no one wanted to revisit. The relationship between faith, death, and the structure above was revealed. The carvings of gods, images of snakes, and warnings all indicated that the builders believed sacrificing life was necessary for divine favor. They used blood to appease their gods, and when the last chamber was sealed, it was meant to contain that dark hunger forever. Now, after hundreds of years, opening that seal made the past come alive again. It served as a reminder that history is not always defined by impressive accomplishments. At times, it consists of quiet moments, acts of sacrifice, and hidden truths that are too difficult to reveal.